Alright, let's just get straight started with week 5, and I said alright again, but you know what, I'm just rolling with it. So we have another rematch coming through with LogiSwords versus Blazing Magi. This is another one of those teams where I played against them in my weaker state, and I have yet to play against them in this stronger looking team. So we're gonna see if anything changes with Blazing Magi here. I'm hoping it does, but like part of me is thinking that this squad is just gonna roll me. They have been very solid throughout all of Overbot's Season 2. But if I do beat them, they are in a very rough situation. They're probably going to lose out of playoffs. Note if Unks will probably end up taking that slot away from them. So, it is make or break time for LogiSwords. My team, pretty much out. Actually, they are out. I don't think that there's no mathematical way for us to get in now. So, yep, if they lose this one, they're probably out of playoffs too. So, everything on the line for LogiSwords. Nothing on the line for my squad. Absolutely nothing. We're going to be starting on this Kings Row map here. Haven't seen it in a little bit, I don't think. I don't know if my team has played on Kings Row. Maybe with Magi we did at one point. Just hopping straight from week 4 to week 5 here. Oh, I gotta turn back on Lijiang. That is my bad, everyone. We've been missing out on Lijiang. I forgot to turn that back on because it almost did that twice in a row. Did I do that with any other maps? No. So the deathmatch maps are hyper specifically picked to be maps that aren't usually in rotation, like Temple of Anubis, Volskaya. Not like the workshop maps. Those would be kind of goofy. Okay. So, gonna see LogiSwords on this first point defense. So they did 3-0 us last time. If it's anything like Note if Unks, they're just gonna 3-0 us again. However, if our changes actually did alter anything, I would be interested to see if we can make something work here. However, I don't know. I think LogiSwords, they've won the matchup with Note if Unks. Actually, wait, no, they play against each other again, don't they? I don't recall. Either way, it's going to be very tight for those two teams in these last couple weeks of play. Of course, okay. Yeah, this is looking like kind of what I expected here. LogiSwords dealing very handily with this Blazing Magi roster thus far. See if we can get anything started, but LogiSwords just seem to be the better team all around. That Zarya is very strong, as well as the Queen and the Reaper there. Sigma gonna get a lot eaten up there. Monkey's gonna put in the bubble in a good spot, actually, and this actually could result in a very quick team fight victory here for Blazing Magi. So we are able to take this first point. Monkey got a very good dive, actually. Put the bubble in a perfect spot, as well as those turrets. So Monkey will be the only thing to fall, but able to cap. Blazing Magi gonna start something here on King's Row. Come the LogiSwords, trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. Sigma gonna get shredded here by the 4. I don't know what he's doing there. Going to result in a team fight victory for LogiSwords. Not too sure what Sigma was doing. Winton gonna fall. I think they're going to rotate around here. Fight this LogiSword squad. Kind of more on their terms. Hanzo going to be in that damaging field. That could result in his very quick demise. And it does. Sim putting in absolute work here for her squad. Only going to be this Queen left on point. I believe they are going to be able to deal with this eventually. But it's a little bit of time when you have Sigma and Winston alive and no Sim. Sim is pretty much where 100% of my team's damage comes from. We will not be seeing a whole lot of Zarya ults coming through today, or Hanzo ults, as her character is bricked, kind of. I don't know if the dev team is ever going to fix the problem with bots. I'm not sure if it is a dev problem or something wrong with my specific lobbies. Either way, is a problem they need to look into. Because Zarya not able to pop her ult as well as Hanzo. Something you gotta keep in mind when drafting Zarya. You don't want to match her up with anything that combos with her. I think she will use her ult if she doesn't have anything that combos with her. Okay, Hanzo getting very low. Have a huge Queen ult coming through as well as a Reaper ult. Probably going to result in a very quick team fight victory here. Only Sigma's left, and he is probably the most useless bot we have in play. Like I said, he's primarily there to put his little shield up and help out his Soj and Sim get value. So, doesn't create a whole lot of value on his own, though. Should eventually fall here. I don't know what exactly he's doing. Gonna die. Unfortunately, my team has re-engaged in the meantime, so that means we all are probably gonna die. Without our Sigma there to plop his shield up. Little bonus sustain. So, Sim will fall here. Good fight coming out from LogiSwords. They are a very strong team to deal with. However, Hanzo's dead. Oh, okay. Sojourn putting in some work here. Maybe we can win this, actually. Bubble just going to prove to charge that Zarya as she sticks inside of it. Reaper going to be able to heal off this Winston if he's not too careful. Reaper getting down to half HP. He will eventually fall here. LogiSwords struggling a bit to keep this alive as Blazing Magi are going to eventually push through on to the next fight here. Sigma getting kind of chunked by this. Actually, Hanzo's just trying to shoot him through a wall. I don't know what he's doing. Hanzo's being a little bit dumb at the moment. He's going to go in all alone. Probably going to die here for this. Definitely going to die here for this. Sigma picking up that final blow. Bunch of ultimates online for the side of Blazing Magi. 2 unusable ultimates on the side of LogiSwords, so we won't see those coming out. As Blazing Magi are slowly making their way forward. Sojourn gonna kill her. Actually, no, Queen killed her. Okay, I thought she killed herself. Here comes the Primal. It is going to... Ooh, okay, they do touch. Surprisingly. So, looks like we won't quite get the payload in, and that is really painful, because now we have a long way to push. So, very good team fight victory for the side of LogiSwords. We're going to have to see a massive flux coming out of this Sigma. I think Sigma, that is the one thing that he does provide. That ult is actually pretty dang good. So when he uses it, it can win team fights. That's about the only thing he provides. It's kind of the opposite of Zarya, right? He provides no value in the neutral, but when he has an ult, he's very good. And Zarya's the opposite. When she has an ultimate, it's bad. Here comes the Sigma. Oh, he's going to get himself killed, though. Unfortunately, Queen is going to be falling on the other side, though. So, you have a 2v3 on point. This is looking very strong for LogiSwords. They are going to hold onto the second point. It's going to be all on Blazing Magi now to have a very good defense. And I just don't see it happen against LogiSwords. I think this, like I said before, I think this matchup is probably going to be 3-0 in favor of LogiSwords. If anything, the Note of Onks matchup showed me that my team probably can't contend with anything in my division. Only able to beat the 2 teams from Never Back Down. To make sure I'm not the final completion, because I have yet to finish last place. So while my team isn't the greatest, it has never been the worst. Except for the beginning of the season. The beginning of the season, my team was definitely the worst. The Mauga Mercy was just not cutting it at all. Mercy, a finalist of last season, was just so weird to me. She was on that LogiSwords roster that did get 4-0'd against the Krusty Crushers with that extremely lethal lineup of Mauga, Zen, Bastion. Or not Bastion, Torb, excuse me. Torb, just an absolute menace to to Society. Now Bastion and Torpor on the same team. Finding limited success. However, no powerhouses are in Overbots this season. There's a lot of contested teams in the top. Feels like a lot of teams can beat anyone. Blazing Magi, not one of those teams that can beat anyone. They have only been able to beat the lower teams thus far. Kind of in this weird spot of not quite being necessarily a low tier team, but they're definitely not a high tier team. They're kind of like the most mediocre team in Overbots. Alright, here come the LogiSwords. This offense is probably going to be a very strong one here. They do get on this sim immediately. However, Junker Queen's going to be the first fall. Sigma going down next. Pretty much a non-factor for the side of Blazing Magi, so not the biggest worry there. However, losing their Sojourn is a big problem. Zarya gonna fall down here, so we actually do hold on to that first point. First fight going our way. Gonna have to wait. Sigma, like I said, if he's dying first, that is a good sign for Blazing Magi. They don't want Sigma to be the last one alive in a fight. You much rather have your Sim or your Sojourn alive. If you lose those DPS, more than likely going to lose the fight. Zarya is probably going to die here. She's getting a little bit overzealous. Hanzo going to come in here. He's getting very low. However, he's going to live. And unfortunately now, that does mean LogiSwords are going to push through here. Only taking about 2 fights. Good couple fights coming in. Blazing Magi are going to spawn in time, so that they will get a fight just off of the A take here. I can't talk right now. I can't talk right now. Okay. And Zarya is going to fall. Okay, some trades coming through. LogiSwords able to push through. He's been on the deck. He's been on the deck. I don't know. Alright. Looks like LogiSwords are indeed shredding through this Blazing Magi lineup. Just not able to quite take that second point. Meaning that LogiSwords more than likely will just win this off this next fight. Especially since Sigma is pushing in like a maniac at the moment. Without their DPS to help them, there's not a whole lot of tanking going on here. As instead it's just taking damage for no reason. And that is going to be it. LogiSwords are going to take this map in a very convincing fashion. Not even close. Hanzo will fall at the end of that fight, and LogiSwords taking a little bit of time to contest this payload, so maybe, just maybe, there will be a touch at the end. We'll see. All of the ultimates are online. However, 2 will not be used for LogiSwords. The 2 ults that are most impactful are probably on the side of Blazing Magi, though. So we'll see. Julian fell off the deck, so he's going to help Marissa. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Zarya is... I don't know. I have not heard much else other than that.
What time did that happen?
A while ago. Dad said he's leaving, and I said, okay. So I don't know how long he's going to be gone. So only Sim and Reaper are alive here, and Sim will take that team fight win. Two minutes on the clock here, looking very much like a favorite matchup for LogiSwords. They have 2 minutes to take this point. Shouldn't be too hard, especially when Sim does this. I don't know what Sim is doing right now. She just gets herself killed. And Sojourn going down next. That is just going to be it. I don't see much of a chance of the two tanks winning this. Yep, that will just be it, as Symmetra foolishly pushes up all by herself and gets herself killed, and Sojourn repeats the same mistake. I don't understand why the bots do that, but they do. And that will be it. Oh my word. Symmetra. Sojourn. Really? Okay. 1-0 LogiSwords going into the next map. I'm going to hope for control, something like that, because on these types of maps, for some reason, the bots just make really stupid decisions. And when they do make stupid decisions like that, it punishes me more than him. Okay, we're going to Blizzard World. So another stupid map for my squad. Even more reason for this matchup to go 3-0. It's the abundance of escort and hybrid maps being chosen. Absolutely the worst type of maps for my squad to get. But it happens. So, very likely to see a very quick 3-0 here coming out from LogiSwords. Trying to maintain their spot in the playoffs as that number 2 seed for Get Good. Notif Unks knocking at the door, though, and I think Notif Unks are currently ahead of LogiSwords, correct? Because LogiSwords just suffered a defeat, and Notif Unks won, I believe. So, yes. Yes. But on the flip side, Notif Unks are facing Rush Hour today, and at the end they face each other, so it could very easily still be LogiSwords' second seed placement, unless something crazy happens when they match up against each other. Oh, or Notif Unks upsets Rush Hour. Okay. Sigma gonna fall down very quickly here. Queen's probably going to go down next, so a trade will happen here. Sojourn going to fall, though. Hanzo just putting in so much work on the outside, looking in. Hanzo getting 3 picks there at the end. Fortunately, that time, Sigma going in a little bit early. Are able to secure the queen, but that's it. Not going to be enough to win a fight. This is just one of those maps that has been historically horrible for my squad. And we keep getting it in like every matchup, I swear. Okay. Sigma going up. Hanzo could fall here. He will. So Sojourn's going to go down next, though. That's not a good pick. Sigma going to fall. And that is going to be it. LogiSword's going to hold on to this point. With only losing one member, only losing that Hanzo. More and more likely that this is just a full hold. And I can be done with this series. Move on to a more interesting one between Notif Unks and Rush Hour, hopefully. Sigma sucking up a lot of damage there. He is going to be able to sustain himself for a little bit longer. Queen's going to fall too, however. Hanzo just putting in work as per normal. And all that's left is the Winston, and that's going to fall so easily with the Reaper still there. Looking like a full hold for LogiSwords. Blazing Magi can't get anything started on this Blizz world. Very similar to how most Blizzard Worlds have looked for my team in the past. Just not a great map for me. Sigma gonna push in all alone here, get himself killed before he's doing any taking. However, Zarya going down on the backside. Gives us a chance at winning this one. We'll see. Reaper, though, picking up 2 with that ult, and that is just going to be it. This is more than likely a full hold. However, the 2 ultimates that are online here for, well, the 1 ultimate online for LogiSwords is not going to be used. So we will have a little bit of an ult advantage with that wall coming up. The wall is in an awful spot, though. So this is probably just going to result in a team fight victory for LogiSwords regardless, especially with Sigma going down that early. Here comes the huge Queen ultimate, and that is just going to be it. This is going to be a full hold on Blizzard World from LogiSwords to the Blazing Magi. And it's just looking just as dominant as their first matchup against this squad, despite the whole roster retoolment. We did get better, but just not good enough to contend with anything still. So, basically just traded who was the worst overall team for scraps. Okay. Sigma getting very low here. He is going to fall. Comes the Symmetra. Hanzo just picking off one after another. And that will be it. A full hold on Blizzworld against Blazing Magi. And that's going to be the map, more than likely. So I'm just going to go for a little bit. I'm going to put my camera right on this point so you can see the full map completion. Because all they need is a tick after that full hold. I think we've seen full holds on Blizzworld before. This is such an easy map to full hold with how garbage it's set up for offense. Alrighty. So, after that, the LogiSwords are up 2-0 in this one, and we are going to be heading to Hanamura deathmatch to end it. All LogiSwords need to do is win this one, and they will have this series 3-0. Very dominant fashion, going to keep themselves afloat in their hunt for that second seed. And the only matchup they have remaining is going to be that squad that's knocking at the door, who I believe in the first matchup they did beat, but Notive Unks. We're going to be their final matchup. To secure themselves the second seed, they'll have to fight the team fighting for it. So, basically going to be a playoff series. Very early playoff series after this one. Whoever wins that, I think, is going to have it. Ooh, okay, big pick coming out from Soj. Zarya going to take out Soj. Sim going to take out the Hanzo, though. Queen going to fall down here. However, Sigma going to go down. So, only 3 kills coming in the side of Blazing Magi. 7 on the LogiSwords side. Looking just as dominant as we expect from this squad in this 3-0. Symmetra gonna fall over. And this is looking like an easy 3-0 victory here coming for LogiSwords as anticipated. Sim going up top, she's gonna drop down. However, Soj gonna fall. Winston gonna fall. Sim gonna fall. 12-3. Looking more and more like it is going to just be a 3-0. I think he's gonna grab that health back, but it's not gonna save him from the Zarya and the Reaper. And 15-3 already. This is a blowout happening here today. Number 3 or 2 team in good division. Really remains to be seen. Very close matchup for that second playoff spot in Get Good. But they are just looking in playoff form right now. Tossing aside Blazing Magi as the threat they are supposed to be, which is not much of one at all for a team of this caliber. Sigma able to pick up that Reaper at the end there, but that's gonna be about it. 6-20 already. Gonna go up to 21 here if they pick off the Sig, which they do. Just looking more and more one-sided as this progresses. Blazing Magi, if they really wanted a chance in this series, would have to hit a Koth-type map where the Sigma and the Winston do a lot less of this feeding shenanigans. Deathmatch is probably one of the lowest probability of winning for my team, as my 2 tanks are literally meant to be playing with the Sim and the Sojourn, and when they're not, they just kind of die. So, yeah. This will more than likely be a 3-0. It's very dominant already. I didn't really watch the rest of Blizz World because I had to use the restroom. But I'm assuming what happened is LogiSwords came in first fight and won and took it. So this is just looking like a very dominant 3-0 coming through here for LogiSwords. I will go watch the VOD to make sure that is what happened after this, and then I'll play more maps and make a second VOD if somehow there was a tie, but I don't think there was a draw, so. Alright, Sojourn, very low. Zarya getting very low in the corner, she's gonna fall. However, you are still down 18 kills, make it 19, I mean. Probably gonna be 20 soon. For some reason, Winston just fully aggroed on this Reaper despite ulting. It is gonna result in his death. Very foolish ult there. Going straight to a Reaper is just gonna self-heal off of you. Only 7 kills needed here for LogiSwords, and they're going to pick up this 3-0 victory, securing them a chance at that final playoff spot, and probably will just be decided whoever wins the next match, because I don't think Nodif Onks are going to win against, so they'll be tied in record. Map differential, I think, will favor LogiSwords, but it's really just going to come down to whoever wins their matchup against each other at the very end of the season. So that is something interesting to watch out for. If Nodif Onks do win the next match, though, then map score is really going to matter. So I don't think Nodif Onks are going to win against Rush Hour, though, in the head-to-head. Okay. Sojourn able to take out that Hanzo, but only 1 kill remaining for LogiSwords, and that will just be the 3-0. Very big ult from Queen. And that's it.